Stefani and Charlie. 1 week after surviving what they thought was their brush with death, Stefani and Charlie are finally settling back into normal life, which in this universe means they've got about 10 minutes left. They're helping Charlie get ready for prom. The two head over to pick up Charlie's date, Jenny Reddick, and meet her dad, who also happens to be a doctor. They chat, laugh, and then Stefani casually drops a bombshell that Charlie brought her back from the dead. Mr. Reddick, confused but smiling, explains,
Well, technically you weren't dead.
just unconscious. Stefani and Charlie lock eyes, both realizing the same terrifying thing. Death's not done with them. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, an old woman from the hospital buys lemonade, drops a penny, and that innocent coin rolls onto the train tracks, jamming itself perfectly between the rails. Train 0513 derails moments later, carving a path of destruction straight through nearby houses. Stefani sees the signs. The air shifts. That familiar unease creeps in. And she knows. She grabs Charlie and shouts for him to run. The siblings sprint away as the wreckage plows through the street behind them. The train finally screeches to a halt. They stop. They breathe.
Oh my God, that was close.
One of the train cars, loaded with logs, jerks violently forward. The pressure shifts and several logs are launched through the air like giant wooden missiles. Before either of them can move, they're both struck. The impact is instant and unforgiving. The final destination hits. Hard. Terry Chaney. Carter and Terry are driving around when they spot Alex and Clear chatting outside a cafe. And because Carter's favorite hobby is picking fights with survivors, he pulls over and immediately goes to stir things up. Terry follows him out.
It's like we have a bit of a reunion here.
She pleads with him to stop, sensing yet another testosterone-fueled meltdown in progress. Carter starts mouthing off at Alex again, and this time, Terry's had enough. She pushes Carter, calls him out for being a bully.
You can just drop dead.
Before she can even finish walking away, a speeding bus comes out of nowhere and absolutely obliterates her mid-step. Carter, Alex, Clear, Billy, and Valerie just stand there, mouths open, Terry's final words still hanging in the air, along with bits of Terry. Samantha Lane. A few days after everything starts spiraling, Samantha decides to treat herself with a relaxing trip to the beauty salon. Hair, nails, some quiet time away from the chaos. Seems harmless enough. But as we already know, death never sleeps. A chain of precisely orchestrated events nearly turned a ceiling fan into Samantha's final haircut. She narrowly avoids the decapitation, but the real danger is still out there. Her kids, who, instead of waiting like normal human beings, are outside throwing rocks at a stop sign. One of those rocks? It doesn't bounce off the sign. It lands quietly in the grass, unnoticed, near a guy just minding his business on a lawnmower. Samantha, all glammed up and freshly styled, exits the salon, generally unaware that she's about to be the main event.
I've got my eye on you.
Was it this eye? The lawnmower outside rolls over that forgotten stone. It fires out of the exhaust like a bullet from a slingshot. The rock rips straight through her right eye and out the back of her head. She collapses onto the floor, dead, as her sons and the staff scream in horror. Tim Carpenter. Already nervous, he's strapped in for a cavity fix when pigeons start hitting the window like kamikaze birds. The dentist, distracted, leaves him alone with the gas on. Meanwhile, a plastic blowfish falls into Tim's mouth. Now he can't breathe through his mouth, and inhaling through his nose means more gas and less oxygen. He starts suffocating until a nurse casually strolls in and pulls the blowfish out. Lucky escape, or just a delay. Later, still groggy and walking with his mom, Tim spots a flock of pigeons. That's when Kimberly and Officer Burke show up screaming, "Pigeon!" And Tim runs toward them like a Disney side character. What he doesn't see? A construction worker nearby accidentally nudging a crane lever. A massive pane of glass swings loose above. Tim looks up. Too late. The glass crushes him instantly, ending his brief, "I survived the dentist" victory lap. Turns out death just doesn't like delays. Nathan Sears. Weeks after narrowly escaping his own demise and accidentally sending Roy to the afterlife instead, Nathan is kicking back at a local bar. It's a quiet night, well, as quiet as a memorial party in a dive bar can be, and he's finally starting to feel like maybe, just maybe, he got out clean. Then he meets John, a co-worker with the worst timing in human history. Mid-conversation, John casually drops the bomb.
Turns out Roy had an enlarged blood vessel in his brains.
Translation? Roy was going to die anyway, which means Nathan didn't really take his place, which means... Out of nowhere, a massive piece of landing gear from the disintegrating plane tears through the roof of the bar like a cosmic mic drop. The gear crashes directly down onto Nathan, and because Death loves a bit of spectacle, his severed hand flies straight at the screen like one last wave goodbye. Julia Campbell. Julia just wanted a peaceful jog. A little fresh air, a little cardio, nothing dramatic. As Julia runs down the street, two kids nearby are playing soccer. One of them accidentally kicks the ball into her head. She falls into a trash can, which is then lifted by a garbage truck and dumped into the compactor. Talk about trash day. Stefani, Charlie, and Eric hear the chaos and go sprinting after the truck. Stefani manages to climb up the side as Julia crawls helplessly toward the opening of the loading hopper. She grabs her cousin's arm, pulling for dear life. Meanwhile, Charlie and Eric manage to stop the truck by cutting it off, but the sudden stop sends Julia backward into the compactor. The machine crushes her lower skull and arm. Stefani ends up holding Julia's severed limb while the rest of her cousin gets flattened. Perry Malinowski. During the tricentennial celebration, a horse gets spooked and ropes Julie by the neck, dragging her across the fairgrounds. Kevin manages to cut her free just in time and saves her. After Julie just narrowly avoided getting turned into a hoof print, Perry and Amber rush in to check on her, while Wendy shows up mid-panic spiral, demanding to know,
Who's sitting next to you on the roller coaster? Who?
it's the worst trivia game ever. Perry, still in shock, slowly realizes the horrifying truth. She's next. The horse, which was conveniently tied to a flagpole, gets startled by a round of fireworks. Again, because nothing says impending doom like mixing explosives, animals, and metal rods. The horse bolts, the pole goes flying, and lands directly through Perry's chest. It's fast, like really fast. Her body slumps forward and slowly slides down the pole. Her friends, covered in blood, stunned silent. Clear and Eugene. Back at the hospital, Eugene is lying in bed, restrained, recovering, and completely unaware that Death is in the room and doing a little redecorating. First, the air vents seal shut. Then, the oxygen tanks start hissing, leaking pure O2 into the room like Death's prepping a human barbecue. But that's just the appetizer. One of the machines near his bed gets knocked loose. The defibrillator's plug starts slowly slipping from the socket. Eugene, struggling to breathe, watches helplessly. For a moment, the defibrillator kicks into emergency mode and brings in just enough airflow to give him hope. That's when Clear Rivers, Final Destination veteran, walking trauma magnet, and professional death dodger, comes bursting into the room. And Death's been waiting for that exact moment. The door swings open, the plug is fully pulled out, and the spark it creates is all it takes. The oxygen-soaked room ignites instantly, erupting into a massive fireball that engulfs them both in seconds. Just like that, Clear's years of cheating Death go up in smoke. Literally. And Eugene's final moments become one of the franchise's most explosive goodbyes. Peter Friedkin. Peter shows up mid-date like the worst third wheel imaginable, with murder on his mind. His plan? Take out Molly and steal her lifespan to beat Death at its own game. But while he's searching for her in the kitchen, Agent Jim Block shows up.
Peter, he has a gun!
Peter doesn't hesitate. He shoots Jim dead and accidentally inherits his lifespan instead. Problem solved? Nope. Peter's paranoia kicks in. Molly saw everything, and loose ends aren't welcome. He lunges at her, firing the gun. But Sam, realizing his girlfriend is about to be murdered, intervenes. Peter knocks him out cold, grabs a knife, and slowly approaches Molly, channeling full-on Scream energy. But Sam's had enough. He grabs the nearest oversized skewer and drives it straight into Peter's back. He drops dead, and with that, Sam inherits the stolen lifespan, leaving Death foiled for now.